Well, of course, TARP officially ended a few weeks ago. There are still, though, a lot of issues surrounding the $700 billion bank bailout, namely transparency. Senator Ted Kaufman from Delaware now chairs the Oversight Commission on TARP and joins us now from Washington. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Hey, Poppy, thanks for having me.
I want to talk first about your mission right now, because technically TARP is over. All of the money actually wasn't spent. The official word is it looks like taxpayers will, for the most part, get their money back. So what's your mission right now?
Well, the mission is there's still $185 billion out there. And, basically, we're still continuing the same thing that we've done, the panel's done before I got there for the last 2 years, and that is make sure that Treasury is functioning properly, make sure that taxpayers' money is being spent well, making sure that taxpayers' interest. But I think there's going to be a little more emphasis in the next 6 months on kind of lessons learned. I mean, God forbid, Poppy, that we have to go through this again. But, if we do, we should be in a better place. I mean, Treasury basically had to start this whole program with a clean sheet of paper and start from scratch.
Your predecessor in this role, Elizabeth Warren, who's now special advisor to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, she complained time and time again when we spoke about a lack of transparency.
Yes, yeah.
This latest report that you've issued talks about a lack of transparency in terms of hiring private contractors to carry out TARP. The issue of private contractors hasn't really come up before in these reports. Explain to us why you think that's so important.
Well, I think clearly when you have so much of the work being done by private contractors, that's an issue. I mean, we have a lot of experience over the years with concerns about private contractors. I think Treasury's done a good job of trying to manage that and getting up considering the pressure they were under. But with any time you have so many private contractors, you've got transparency problems, as you said. Right now, the contractors do not have to respond to FOIA.
Sure, Freedom of Information
request.
Act, right.
Yeah, so that they don't have to respond to that. When you get to the subcontractors, it even gets murkier and murkier in terms of what they have to provide. The other thing is that when you hire private contractors, there's a potential for conflict of interest. There are a number of banks that receive TARP funds but also advise the Treasury. And the final thing is that clearly the HAMP program, the Mortgage Assistance Program that is a $50 billion program that Treasury is still, very much at the beginning of, that hiring Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac to do it, just raises questions in terms of the fact they've got not a very good record on administering government.
So let's stick on Fannie and Freddie. This report outlines that they have about 600 employees working to carry out TARP's missions under Fannie and Freddie. That's about 3 times what Treasury has. Obviously, this company now owned by U.S. taxpayers, Fannie and Freddie both. What's the concern here that they have some 600 employees working on this?
It starts with the basic idea that, were there, and again, this goes back to lessons learned, were there other options? Were there other public and private options other than Fannie Mae? Why pick Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac based on their record? Second is that, they they have 600 employees. They're managing a big portion of the Mortgage Assistance Program, and they have a very spotty management record. And we just had an incident where the transmission, where there was a big mistake made on the numbers.
Would your focus finally really lie on the housing program in terms of mortgage assistance modifications? The housing market's still in such a state of crisis in this country. As you said, $50 billion allocated towards that. You're concerned clearly about Fannie and Freddie overseeing it. So is that where you're really going to focus, Senator?
Not just the housing program, but all these programs. How do we get this thing back moving again? How do we get the economy doing? How do we make sure, and again, the final piece is how do we make sure this doesn't happen again?